A police chase and investigation leads to the arrest of 3 teenagers, and police say they are connected to other shootings in 2 different counties. Let's get straight to Natisha Lance. She joins us live from downtown Atlanta to help connect the dots for us tonight. Natisha.
Well, Ron, those 3 teens all face an aggravated assault charge in connection to that pool party shooting that happened at the Peninsula Apartments at Buckhead. And despite the arrest, some people who live at that apartment say since that incident, crime in this area has not stopped. 3 teens sit in a Paulding County jail tonight with no bond. Atlanta police confirmed the 3 are connected to a shooting that happened outside the Peninsula Apartments in Buckhead on May 15th.
I'm glad that they figured out who did it and they're working through that.
The 3 were arrested Monday afternoon after an investigation into shootings in Paulding and Cobb counties. As part of that investigation, Cobb County officers conducted surveillance Monday at the Paulding County home on Nebo Road that was shot up during a drive-by on June 25th. While there, officers observed someone drive a red Honda Civic off the property. When Paulding County deputies tried to pull the car over, the driver sped away, eventually crashing and fleeing on foot. The driver of the Honda Civic was caught. He now faces nearly a dozen charges tied to the chase. Back on Nebo Road, Paulding deputies and Cobb officers surrounded the home, calling the 3 suspects outside where they were arrested on warrants out of Cobb County and with APD. Investigators say a search conducted of the home discovered multiple stolen firearms. Jayla, who asked us not to use her last name, has lived at the Peninsula Apartments for about a year. She says since the incident, crime has not stopped.
It's becoming a norm, though. It's not like a one-off kind of thing. Like, shootings are very, very, very common in this area now. And so we're moving. 3 bystanders were injured in the shooting that happened after a pool party at the apartments. Atlanta police say a fight in the lobby led to gunshots outside. And anyone with additional information is asked to contact the anonymous tip line for the Paulding County Sheriff's Office. We do have that number up for you on 11alive.com.